So that's Mike off to Wales in the Jag. He came down in this Golf convertible, which we did a deal on. So this is now mine for stock. 2011 61 plate TDI Golf convertible, white, obviously. I don't know about specs on these. We've got these black alloy wheels. Obviously needs a good clean from having a run down here. It was a Cat N, which is apparent with some of the sort of panel gaps on the bumper there, which I might have a fiddle about with, see if we can improve them. But at the end of the day, you know, you get them cheaper for a reason, don't you? This is going to be a hell of a lot cheaper than the equivalent car that wasn't a Cat N. And to be honest, I've seen cars that aren't Cat N with bumper fitments as bad as that, where they've just taken the bumpers off and put them back on again. Someone just needs clipping back in properly. Maybe adding of a little screw or something just to tidy it up a bit. But like I say, it's going to be a cheap car for someone. Interior is really good on it. It does need a clean on that seat because Mike spilt coffee when someone tried to kill him on the motorway. Inside the hood's really good, really clean. Tidy car. Tidy little car. I'm going to drive it home tonight as always. Got Bluetooth, cruise control. I think it's got parking sensors too. Yeah, parking sensors. He's put a brand new MOT on it for me. Yeah, front and rear parking sensors. He's put a new MOT on it for me. Oh, a rain sensitive screen as well, because he did put a new windscreen in for me as well, because it had a crack in it. Excuse me. Yeah, nice looking old car. Needs obviously, like I say, a bit of a clean up now. But we'll do our traditional run in it, make sure it's okay. Great to see Mike as always. I'll put a link down below for his Instagram page, which is the only sort of social media he has. Mike trades classic cars that we've spoken about before. British Leyland's a bit of a speciality, but he does the Capris and he does the Capris, he does the Morrises, the Itals, all that kind of stuff. So I'll put a link down below. But we had a really interesting chat when we were here, and something I'll be interested in your feedback on it as well. It's the Jag. So the Jag was a fantastic car. I did have some footage of driving it around for a couple of days and I blooming accidentally deleted it.
Top man, James.
The Jag was a fantastic car. The blue one I'm talking about now. It drove like a dream. I drove it for 3 days without a single issue on it at all. No issues on it at all. And it made me think, and I was talking to Mike about it this morning, that car would have been absolutely perfect for one of our subscribers to buy. And I'm talking about not like really marked up retail wise, but I could have stuck, you know, just a few £100 on top for my time and hassle to go and pick it up and let someone have a really nice car, a really affordable price. But the issue with it is I can't do that. And the reason being, I cannot sell to a consumer trade. So whatever vehicle I sell comes under the Consumer Rights Act. So anywhere up to 6 months, I could get comeback on it. Now, I put this out in a video earlier about saying that I would do some of these cards trade, and I think a few of you misunderstood. I got messages from people that weren't traders. I got messages from people that wanted to part exchange cars in and buy it from me trade. You can only do trade sales to another trader, as in car trader. Well, actually, you can sell it to, theoretically, you can sell it to a business, and you can sell it to a business trade, but you can't sell to a consumer trade because it falls under the Consumer Rights Act, and that is wherein lies the problem with the Jaguar. I'd love to let someone have that car cheap, as it was, because it drove brilliantly, and I have no reason to believe it was going to have any problems at all, because I drove it, like I say, 3 days, out any issues. But I can't do that because it falls under the Consumer Rights Act. If I sell it to a consumer, I can get come back anywhere up to 6 months. Now, that means even if they sign a piece of paper to say sold as seen, you know, no warranty implied or given or whatever, doesn't mean a thing. They may put that down on paper and agree to that at the point of sale, but then when the car goes away and there's a problem in 3 or 4 months' time, everybody in this world is always looking for someone to blame. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm sure there's a few people that would stand by that contract and wouldn't bother me, but there's an awful lot of people that would, if there was, if a substantial problem came up, to come back and hit me up for the cash. But that is the risk with the car of that age, that it can be driving fantastically now, and it might drive fantastically for another year, 2 years, 3 years without any problems at all, but I can't guarantee those things. But if I'm going to sell it to someone where I'm culpable for anywhere up to 6 months, then I need to stick a fat margin on top of that car to cover my backside. Because even if I know a lot of people think if I put a third-party warranty in it, you can only buy that for 150 quid, you'll be covered by that, James, so you don't have to put that fat margin in it. No, if that warranty company then decline a repair, but someone still decides to pursue me, that contract with the warranty company was only between me and the warranty company, not between the customer. They didn't buy the warranty. That's just something I stuck on as an insurance policy. So I've still potentially got the comeback on it. And it got me to thinking about, when I was driving along the other day, that the UK law does need a real rethink. The Mercedes is another cracking example. I've driven this car loads. Yes, it threw up an engine code and I've now had a water pump fitted to it. Thermostat fitted to it. The code's gone. Drives great again. But I'm not sure I want to retail it for the same reasons. Without putting a really fat markup on it, the risk to me is that something could go wrong with it that would make it unfinancially viable to sell it retail. As it stands right now, it drives perfectly, got no problems at all, and it could do that perfectly forever and a day. But the risk is just too high. So again, I could do something where I just didn't put a lot on top on this car, and let a subscriber have a cracking deal on it and get a really good car for the price. But the reason that consumers will never be able to get the very best deal on a car they can via dealers, who do get access to motors at really good prices. The reason they can't pass those savings on to a consumer is the moment it goes from being from a trader to a trader, from a trader to a consumer, the risks are too high. You have to have a fat margin in it to cover you. And that's why consumers will never get as good a deal as they could. And as I was saying, this is what got me thinking about the UK law. When we're looking at cars of this age, a lot of the subscribers comment to me from other countries and say, look, where I am, once a car gets over X amount of years old or X amount of miles, they're all sold as seen. There's no contract at all. Or you can choose to buy the vehicle sold as seen without any contract or warranty, or you can buy it with a contract or warranty. So the consumer has that choice. They can take their own risk and get a better price point. We can't do that over here. And the law, the way it stands at the moment, is if you go and buy that Bentley at 50 grand brand new, or you come and buy, a Suzuki Swift Sport off me with 100,000 miles on at 12 years old for a couple of grand, the law is exactly the same. Now, a lot of people can jump in and go, well, hang fire, there is allowances for age and mileage, but that's totally down to the discretion of a judge. And if you get as far as being a car dealer in front of a court with a judge, and you're talking about car deals and there being a fault with it, I can pretty much say, vast majority of cases it's going to go in favour of the consumer either way, because a dealer is considered to know all and have a crystal ball. But yeah, in those countries they have this law in place that allows the consumer to make that choice. And with a deal like that, I could be offering these cars at fantastic prices out to people, really good prices out to people. But it's the law that prevents that from happening. Now, I know the issue is that there's always the bad apples that spoil it for people, and would use things like that as a way of just offloading really bad vehicles. So I'm not entirely sure how you could design it so that people were protected more from that, because it's one thing buying a car sold as seen with no warranty implied or given, and you've made a choice to do that. But then if someone's got out of their way to conceal a problem with the vehicle, then even in that case, it seems a little unfair if the person takes the sort of hit on that. But the mad thing is, that's happening the country over. It's probably happened in the time I've done this video hundreds of times, because people are going out and buying cars privately all the time with problems. And you've seen examples very recently on my channel of people going and buying cars privately, saving maybe £500 or £600 versus a dealer price point, and then being hit with massive bills within a few days for problems with the vehicle. But they don't go back to the private seller to hit them up for it. They just swallow it and they swallow it and make the payment, because their understanding is when they bought it private, it was sold as seen and they took that risk. Now, why can't someone rock up to a dealership and do the same thing? Now, this isn't about trying to get out of warranty claims and trying to make more money. Anybody who watches my channel knows I'm the exact opposite of that. What I'm saying is, in an instant like that, where that Jaguar, it does not make any sense to me to be on the hook for 6 months for what could possibly go wrong with that car. For example, if you know that's got electric seats, electric windows, electric vents for the heating system, electric steering column, all of those kind of things. You know, I can't be on the hook for 6 months for those things on the car. Now, you might say, you know, a lot of that wouldn't be covered under a warranty because it doesn't make the car unfit for purpose. But I don't want to get to the point of having an argument with a customer over that. I don't want to get to the point of getting to court over that. You know, so saying those things aren't included doesn't work for me. But it was a cracking car. As I said, it was a cracking car. I drove for 3 days without a problem. And I would comfortably, you know, I've just sent Mike off to Wales in it. And, you know, I know it's going to get him there fine, but at the end of the day, it's just too risky for that. It's too risky. But this, you know, that meant I could only sell it to another trader when that would have made a fantastic car for someone. And that's what this video is about. I know I'm repeating myself a bit, but it's just a bit frustrating, you know, that we don't need to have a rethink of this Consumer Rights Act when it applies to cars, and a bit more, I think, some definition. I mean, why not give people the option of buying a car at any age without any kind of inclusive sort of warranty or comeback or anything like that? You know, it's this idea in this day and age that nobody is responsible for their own actions or their own thoughts. You know, if someone writes on paper, signs on paper to say that's what they agree, then it should be stood by. Anyway, that's my little rant on. I'd value your comments down below. It's frustrating for me because in the last week or so, as you've seen on the channel, I've got lots of really interesting cars in that have been quite a lot of fun and quite interesting. And it'd be nice to do a mix like that. But the trouble is I can't keep buying those cars on the basis that then I just trade them out to somebody, because there's no margin in that at all. And a lot of them are fantastic cars, but I also can't take the risk of retailing them and being on the hook when I'm as generous with my warranties as I am. So, yeah, comment down below. Always interested in your thoughts. Perhaps there's some of you out there that do trade stuff of this kind of age and things like the Jaguar I was talking about there. And you can put me straight and tell me how you can sell cars like that and still make a living and still keep happy customers and not have problems. Or maybe you tell me, James, no, there's no way out of it. Unfortunately, if you sell a car like that, you just got to put a really fat margin on it and hope that it's a good one. Perhaps I'm missing something here. You know, what do you feel as a consumer? Would you like the option of being able to buy? You know, I've told you before in this video, I can only sell these cars trade to trade. So you've seen cars on my videos where I've driven them for days, gone through them panel by panel to show how they are, driven them to show they drive well, and you've thought, I like that. But the only way you can buy it from me is fully retailed up price. Does that frustrate you as well? Comment down below. I'll be interested to know.